Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Well, this is our first post-Ramadan program, and it seems like that everything went very well. I'd like to do something for a minute. I'd like to pass these around and just look at these to see if you see any difference in any one of them. Just thumb through them real quick and see if you see anything different in any of them.
Yeah, I see a difference. One of them.
You saw one look different?
One look different, yeah.
Okay.
One look different.
I mean, that's obviously it sticks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, when we was having our Eid dinner, whatever you want to call it, you know the brother that stayed here a couple of nights, dark-skinned brother?
Yeah, I peeped them over there with you while you were.
Yeah, well, I was looking at the money.
I peeped them over there with you.
Okay, all right.
I didn't know what was going on. But
No, what happened was, what he told me was, he said, I got $100 bill and I want to get some money out. I want to change. I want to give you $100 and I want you to give me 70 back. He wanted to donate $30 to the Eid.
Right.
Something like that. It could have been vice versa, but I think it was, so. I said, well, that's all right, this whole thing. He said, no, I really want to do it. So he kept coming up while I was serving food and wanting to, so I said, okay. So he handed it to me. He said, and I looked at it. Now, I never counterfeited money, but I've been around people that did, you know, and this looked like one. So I said, that's pretty serious there. I said, take this back and give me another one. Because he said he had just got $1,000 from the government or something. You know, all the magic $1,000. And so he, after he gave me this, and I looked at it, I said, no, man, take this back. And then when he gave me another one, it tore. It was really like cheap money, you know what I mean? It just tore in half, just like that. So I already knew what it was, and I just wanted to do basically what I'm doing now. You know, just showing. Now, I'm not saying the brother stayed here, I don't know how many nights, and if we were materialists, we would say he ate up $100 worth of food and slept up $500 worth of carpet space. That ain't the deal. But, okay, now if I went to change this, I could...
You get jammed up.
You could end up with a knee on your neck, just like.
Yeah, just like the brother up there, and I mean, this is not hard. I mean, this stuff here, hell is green. And don't look at the back. Good God Almighty, look at the background. You see what I mean? The background. And see, the last counterfeit I saw a lot was 20s. And they looked like that. Because my partner in LA came up to Oakland because he had caught a counterfeit case. And that's what his money looked like. And I said, well, did you have to, you have to give anybody up? Because that's what they do. If you get a counterfeit case, most of the people are not standard day-to-day criminals. So they give up their connection. So my best friend, I just said, oh. So my idea was that he's there to maybe you know. Anyway, so I just kept this. And I kept it out, put it under the thing, because just $100 or 70, whatever I gave, it's okay. But I just wanted to show you that treating people nice has nothing to do with how people are going to treat you. Right. And if you're in the movement, see, this is and he just got out of the penitentiary, so he knows, and it had to be the federal joint, you know, about what this stuff. And with my relations with the government, they just play, we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. You know, they could just give me a compliment. But whatever the thing is, and that's what I'll open with, keep score. Keeping score means pay attention to what you're doing and who you're around and what, you know. I have a nice article here. This was maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. This is the last time I was in Tehran, and it had, you know, this was out of, the brother brought me one copy of a newspaper. This is the political newspaper. This is from the inside. The outside had the same picture, you know. Okay, and so I said, shoot, I do like I do all other papers. I go and get me a copy, some copies, and I bring a lot of copies and just pass them out to people. Not showing off, but this, and this is in color and everything. And I couldn't find none of the others. That day or the next day, because, you know, like when you appear in the newspaper sometimes, you happen to go, huh, what? Let me go get a few, just for the heck of it. Okay, so probably people might figure that I might come back with this Wilayat Faqih is a defense against global fitna. You know, that's what it is. That's what the article says in Farsi. This could have been, this was translated from I gave a talk at University of Tehran University, and that's the headquarters of, created by brothers that came from here. There's a department for French studies, probably Spanish studies, and definitely American studies. Like they have in some of the universities, you know, they have a department of Middle Eastern studies and what have you. Well, now they have a department of, that they have a crew that they're educating, that their people will be able to give programs, teach at universities, start a Department of Strategic Studies, that type of thing, all over Iran. That's what they're doing. And one of the brothers that's from there is, you ever see Morandi on TV? Mohammed Morandi. Okay. I like him because he's on the money. Okay. But there's a conflict that's been going on subtly all along. The big shot that did the TV program on me, 12 segments, man, it's back in the 90s. It's back in about 92. And when he was over here, the one brother that made the picture, the movie about Isa alayhi salam, Talibzadi, Nader Talibzadi. Nader Talibzadi, without going through every stage of it, He's the most famous, well-known, and like TV personality, talk show host. He have a big show over there. And because of the program he did with me is what made him number one. See, when he was over here with me, I took him up to Boston, and he interviewed Noam Chomsky and all that, and I took him all around the East Coast. We didn't get a chance to go west, but the brothers in the Daftar asked me, well, the embassy asked me, this is our brother, we want you to take him around, make him familiar with America. And so that's what his series was about. He'd been a war correspondent and everything. You know, the war was just over. So that's where he gained his experience. And I took him all over, and we went all around here, and we filmed. He had his camera, and he could keep it kind of, because we filmed a lot of the Negroes around here. And I say, if they see you, I said, because see, you look white. And they're going to mistake you for the police. If you're taking pictures, and me, they'll just straighten me up down somewhere, you know, or shoot me just because, you know, you were a white man, and they're not going to give you a chance. No, he's an Iranian doing a program on black people, and I'm helping him. They ain't going. You're not going to have time. If the Negroes look, man, taking pictures of. Either they're going to break and run, or think you're the police, or do both. Either half of them break and run, and some of them come over and shoot you and take the camera. You don't know. So anyway, it worked out fine. For that program he did, he made a 12-hour program out of the videos that we had taken. And when I would go to Iran in those days, it's in the 90s, people would stop me, oh, Abdul Ali Musa, da 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 da. When I went to Imam Reza's not cool, but the city up there where the 8th Imam is buried. Good God Almighty, gotta get the city. Which one?
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't come back, you know, when you have a senior moment. Anyway, it's a wonderful place. They go up there for, it's the only city, we know it's a famous city. It's the only city where one of the imams is buried, and that's the 8th Imam, Imam Reza. And it's a wonderful environment up there. People go up there for ziyarah and everything. So they took us up there. I went up there a couple of times, because when you're there, sometimes you take your own trip. Anyway, I was running all the time then. So around the Haram, which they call the Haram, I would run around there a lot. You know, and I said, they're going to think this nigga's crazy. Instead of going in and praying, which I did. He's running around here like doing American exercises, you know. Anyway, this article right here was on the front page, like those things that we were doing then was on the front page and on the TV. But when I would go out after this article, would nobody stop me or greet me or say nothing. So that made me think right away, because I asked the brother, I said, you got any more of these? No. They might have printed one of these for me. They might have printed just one of these for me to make me think whatever I might think, you know. Assalamu alaikum. So anyway, because they was deep into everything that's been going on recently over the last decades. See, over the last decade, they would pull me out of the regular program. Because I used to negotiate the program, I used to be a speaker and all that stuff. But this time, for the last 10 years or more, 2011, since around 2011 and 10 and all of that, they have been, first of all, they did a certain thing. I brought all of my articles over. So they brought one of their English teachers to read all those articles and then discuss them with me. And the first thing he said, "Did you write all of these?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know." And so after that, because he used to get a headache sometime, because see, if you're translating some over a long period of time in another language, it'll give you even though you teach that language, it's, you know, you're reading it and understanding it, and so he said, "I gotta take a little break." So when we had their experts come in, now remember, there's a lot of deep dialogue going on in 2009, 10, and 11, and this is when that period is. So it's the foreign ministry and everybody, they're trying to lock in on this little magic power that I have, whatever they call it. Not only are they starting a whole section at the University of Tehran for foreign language studies, not just the studies, but the political, all the kids that's there studying English, when I give my lecture, they don't need a translator. They all, I mean, and their English is good. Their English is good. So when I gave this lecture, they're recording it, and then they translated it from English to Farsi. And this is the Farsi translation. Okay, so what I'm getting to, this is a lot of things that's been going on over the last decades. So for the last, let's say 10 years, some of my friends that are there were saying, "Man, they got you out there." So they didn't want me to even go visit the other old friends, because there's a slight difference. For instance, it's deep. One of out of the brothers that went back home, right? They went back, their teachers, their professors, they big. Zarif went back. Zarif, foreign minister, he used to call me his best friend. And that used to make me uncomfortable, because in the dunya, when everybody, "This is my friend," I'd always be watching my back. It's a custom. It's not anything, and it was wound up to be true every time. Even, so anyway, a lot of stuff was going on, international stuff and what have you, and I'm starting to have some certain things that's beginning to happen between the embassy and me, and between the environment and me, the Iranian environment. Now, if you go back 40 years, the beginning of the revolution, up to about 10 years, 13, 14, for that period, I got so used to, I was speaking at every university, and the Iranians would always ask me, "Imam Musa, what are we going to do next?" That was the question. They asked me. So what I was saying was so effective and on the point that I'm not even realizing until they start making those type of comments is how exact I am on them. Because when you like somebody, you start studying them. And so that like, it spreads, you know what I mean? Like the people like you and you like them, you know what I mean? And so that begins to develop a serious ability, at least it did in me. And it goes on up to today. That you're able to, first of all, we have American history. We have black history. We have all the things that we've been involved in all our lives over here. So that makes us experts on America and American history and American behavior. More than we know. We are technically experts on American history and American behavior. What they are bound to do. Remember we said about the JPOCA, they should sign it and then break it. You know what I mean? Just to have fun. Just to be, you know, just to be American, almost. That's what they, and what happened? We see what happened. We were 100% correct on that. And just think about when we talk about Iran, on everything else. We're way up into, if it was a batting average we'd be batting 995, not 340 or 320 or 300, which would be good, right? And we say this all the time, but I'm going to get up to a certain point of what's been going on during the last decade or more. When I would go from here to the conferences there, instead of me being on the stage and help coordinating the program and all of that, they started easing me off and in the background. And even it's so nasty when they have all them cameras, when you see everybody sitting in the big halls over there. The camera, if I'm sitting right there where you are, the camera would come till it get right there, and then it would go back. I said, brothers, it's cold-blooded. I'm not waving, jumping up and down and saying, come on by. But for credibility, that you know what you're talking about and you're in on all the big shots from all over the world, because everybody from all over the world